Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 2 of Tailgate Talk. We're your hosts, David, Nick, and we got our friend Joe back again for season 2. Boys, say hello to the people.
What's up?
What's up, people?
Mhm. As you can tell, we are clearly still working through some glitches. I currently have no audio, no video, and Nick is on his phone. But you know what? We're gonna power through because that's what we do. It's football, baby. We're back.
Down by
I
down.
mean, some people are probably happy not to see you, but yeah, happy to be back.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we're going to start off this with we've already watched some week 0 games. We had our friend Joe here. Actually, I think you're recording still in across the pond in Ireland, correct?
I am. I'm in the motherland this week.
So Joe, tell us about that game. You know, you got the Fighting Irish, America's biggest brand against the servicemen of Navy. What
Yeah,
was it like
so
being seeing that?
so first I've been to a few Notre Dame games in the back in the States. They're undefeated when I'm there, but and across the pond as well. Coming across the pond was a different experience completely. We got nice tickets on the first level, so that was awesome. I think we were like 20 rows back from the end zone. I expected it to kind of be a blowout, especially with the spread being 21. Navy has not been good. They are still running the triple option, which is their biggest gimmick. I guess they need a gimmick since they're the Navy. But coming into the season, we were looking at Notre Dame as a lot of question marks. Can Austin Estime return as the big giant bowling ball in the backfield that can run 300 yards a game and possibly 2 touchdowns? And more importantly, how is Sam Hartman going to gel with those big wide receivers that look like refrigerators on the outside? A lot of those questions were answered. Sam Hartman has been nothing short of extraordinary in the week 0 game. I mean, it did come against Navy, but you do have to take into consideration that Notre Dame handled business against a crappy team, and that's what good teams do. They handle business against crappy teams. Sam Hartman, honestly, if he keeps this up, he can be a huge X factor to the college football playoffs since they play Ohio State, USC, and Clemson. And if he plays like this all year round or to a close level, I think he can definitely come in and get a trip to New York. So we'll definitely see how that works out the rest of the season. But that game was awesome. Uh, it was a tremendous atmosphere. There were cup stacks going up to the second and third deck. I was behind. I was 3 rows behind one of them, handed all my cups of empty beer to them. So it was nothing short of extraordinary over here across the pond.
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on what I was going to talk about with the Notre Dame. They did what they needed to do. They took care of business. They were expected to go in and beat them by quite a bit, and they did. I mean, we knew who Sam Hartman was going to be just because he's played 5 years at Wake. Like people know he's a great quarterback. He showed that he can get into a new offense, and this year is just his year to prove that it wasn't just the system at Wake that made him great. He's showing that it was him himself. Um, I think the most important thing you said was the fact that they play USC, they play Ohio State, they play Clemson this year. If Notre Dame's going to be a serious contender, which I think everybody that follows them expects them to be, they're going to need to win at least 2 of those games to prevent themselves from getting 2 losses. I don't feel like a prophet saying that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know for a fact Clemson's on the road. I know USC's in South Bend. Is the game against Ohio State, Joe? Is that in
It's
South
in
Bend or is
South
that in
Bend.
Ohio?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in South Bend. And real quick, just to add to that before you continue, like Sam Hartman, and obviously, I've heard a lot of people say this week, like, okay, it was Navy. Can he do it in big games? Like, no offense, but like you guys know firsthand that he can be a big game player. Whether it's a system or not is a good question. But for a guy who, I think he threw like 7 touchdowns against Clemson last year, and that's like not a dig at Clemson, but like, you guys are the national brand in college football with Alabama, Ohio State, right? Like he's been on that big stage before, so I'm excited to see what he does on the big stage Because if you do if you win two of those three, you realistically have a great shot at the national playoffs. So we'll see how that goes. But continue with your train of thought. Sorry.
Yeah, no. And I completely agree with you. I think I knew Sam Hartman was a great quarterback even before this week. Like I
Right.
knew, like you said, he lit Clemson up. Clemson was lucky to come out on top in that game. That was he could have beaten us there. But yeah, it's definitely going to be it's going to come down to those three games, and they've shown they can beat Clemson. I don't. They haven't shown they can beat them away from South Bend though, so that'll be interesting to see if they can do that. I think getting USC, especially after seeing USC in week 0, that defense still concerns me. I think that Notre Dame can very, very well win that one if they just stick to their brand of football.
And to
And when
and
it
to
comes down to
and to go off that real quick is, we've seen with, I worry most about Clemson out of the three, and Clemson had the down year last year. And that's because, Michigan has given us a blueprint on how to beat Ohio State. That's come out, that's punched them straight in the mouth, that's run it down their throats until they give up, until they say uncle. USC, like you said, the defense was not great in week 0. I mean, they still have Bear Alexander. They still have all those great transfers that they got from all across the country. But by God, Alex Grinch is still running that defense for whatever reason. Maybe he has leaked photos of Lincoln Riley somewhere. I'm not really sure how he's still employed, but it's the same thing with them. If you run it down their throat with that bowling ball in the backfield, and then you have Sam Hartman, who also, by God, side note, he looks good in Notre Dame blue and gold, and they run it down their throats. And then when they get tired of running it, you say, all right, we're going to throw it over your head now. When you load the box, I think that those two games are very, very winnable for Notre Dame.
I agree, and I think that Notre Dame with their brand of football, no one wants to go into that stadium and play them on the road. The fact that they got 2 of the 3 biggest games of the year at home is going to be massive for them. I think Notre Dame can be a big player this year, and it's week. I mean, it's not even week 1 yet. Might be drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, but I think that Notre Dame's primed for a good season.
Totally
Yeah, for
agree
sure.
there. We're looking at, they've got, who is it? Tennessee State this week.
Yeah, Tennessee State.
So another little tune up, and then they get into their schedule. Notre Dame's got a tough schedule always with their independence. They're looking to play who they can play, make a name for themselves. You've got USC, Notre Dame, or USC, Ohio State, and Clemson on that schedule. It's going to be a meaty schedule, so we'll see how it plays out. But I'm a personal big fan of Sam Hartman. I love his story. Dude is a baller, and so I'm really excited to see what he can do for Notre Dame. And I think they're going to be a really tough team to play for whoever's playing them, no matter if it's Clemson, Ohio State, USC, whoever. Notre Dame's got the dudes. They got to show up in the playoffs, because they haven't really had a chance. They haven't really done that so far. So that's kind of the
Brian
next step.
Kelly.
They can get there, and they got to finish it up.
Yeah, it's because Brian Kelly was leading at the helm here. No, but and
Oh my God.
one last thing, one quick thing that I'll go off of what you said. It at the end of the day, like Colin Cowherd always says, if you hear the video, oh, no one wants to play in South Bend in the winter. It's cold. It's gloomy and doomy, right? No one's going to want to come play Notre Dame in South Bend in the middle as it starts getting colder, especially USC. Maybe Ohio State, they're used to the cold, but that's not going to go well for a team that plays down south, out west, and it's going to be interesting to see just how good this team can be, because it looks like, and obviously overreactions to week 0 will declare them national champs, and I could be totally wrong. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. This team just looks so good. At one point, Chris Tyree also, side note, was looking at our beer tower and how impressive it was. So thank you, Chris Tyree. Shout out.
I think it's
Getting off
safe
of
to say
that.
that. Oops, sorry.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, I think it's safe to say that if Notre Dame plays to their potential, they're definitely a player in the playoff this year.
For sure.
We had some games. USC was able to put up points, but no defense. in their week 0 game. They play Nevada this week. This whole week 1 schedule kind of overall, I think a little bit lackluster in terms of big matchups. So we do have a couple that we'll touch on base later. I think based off of our picks, the one game that surprisingly none of us picked, considering the present company, was the Clemson Duke game. So Nick, want your quick thoughts before we jump on into the picks on the Clemson Duke matchup?
I think it's going to be a close, or it's going to be a good test for both teams. Obviously, starting off with a conference opponent is always tough. It's not consecutive years. Clemson started with a Monday night game against a conference team. Duke very much improved last year from the year before. They did have an easier schedule last year, so we definitely need to see how they're going to carry over that success from the first year of Elko. Their secondary is undersized compared to the Clemson wide receivers. On paper, this should be a Clemson win by 2 touchdowns, but I'm confident, but I'm not confident in a blowout, especially with the first game of the Lincoln Riley era being here, or Garrett Riley. I'm sorry about that. We were just talking about Lincoln. So it'll be interesting to see. I do think that Clemson should take care of business, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a close one.
Yeah, to kind of go off that point real quick, because I'm not the resident Clemson, extraordinaire here, but this is the game for Cade to stick his flag in the sand and say, "Hey, listen, I'm here. This should have been my job last year. I tried to show you guys in the Orange Bowl. We came up a little bit short against Tennessee, but hey, like, I'm here to stay. This is a real offense. Garrett Riley's the real deal." And I think that's plausible. If you look at any of the Riley brothers, I know you messed up saying Lincoln. It doesn't really matter. If you look at all the Riley brothers, you look at their success with quarterbacks. Their quarterback success is, I think it's like 98% for either first round picks, Heisman's, or leading the college football in your touchdowns or yards. So like this is the game to do it. I don't foresee. I think Elko lost a lot of people from what I've read over the course of the offseason. I'm excited to see what that Duke team looks like. Everyone's really high on this Will Levis lookalike named Riley Leonard. I don't know how good he is. Apparently, a lot of people are deeming him the 3rd best quarterback in this draft class after Caleb Williams and Drake May. So I don't know how real that is, but this is the game for Clemson to kind of make everyone overreact. Since they didn't play in week 0, let's get everybody on the Kool-Aid train. Let's get everybody on the Hattie train, and let's go from there.
I do think that people may not realize, like, Garrett's offense, it's not air raid. It's a dirt raid is what they're calling it now. They're going to rely on the run game still. They're going to be explosive in the pass game. But this is the first time I think that Garrett's had a team with these skill players like Clemson has, with the a more imposing offensive line, still one that hasn't always had their way with teams, but they've had the mentality that they need to be the bigger men. They're going up against a very veteran defensive line in Duke. I think they've got four seniors on that defensive line, so keep an eye out on the trench fight there. But I think this is definitely a game where we're going to see Cade take some shots. He's going to make some mistakes, but he's also going to be coming right back for some deep shots. And you're going to see how much more unpredictable the Clemson offense is going to be with Garrett Riley. So very much looking forward to that first game of the year.
And to that point, real quick, I think, like you said, like, we saw Garrett Riley last year with a guy in oh my God, I can't think of his name. The quarterback for TCU.
Max Duggan.
Max Duggan, thank you. Sorry, brain fart there. We saw a lot of quarterback options. Cade looks like an athlete. I'm sure we'll see a lot of packages revolving around his feet. But more importantly, I think your main offensive rock is going to get the ball in a lot of ways. I would not be shocked to see him get a lot of receptions. I would not be shocked to see him get a lot of open carries. I think he's going to set Will Shipley up for success, where last year Every time I turned on a Clemson game, I felt like he was running into a wall. I think they're going to get him open in a lot of ways, and I think they're going to create a lot of success for Will Shipley as well this year.
I'm just ready for a different looking offense.
I'm
In
sure
all
you are.
honesty.
I'm sure you are.
Let's hope that they use the middle of the field. That's good. All I'm going to say. And with that,
And
we're
tight
going to go
ends.
ahead and transition to our picks. So let me go ahead and pull that up. We're doing it a little bit different this week or this season. We're going to do our 4 picks each. So our first pick is the lock of the week. Calling out also spread. So we're calling it where if you pick a team, they had to cover their spread to get points. So with that, Nick, go ahead and give us your first lock of the week.
So my lock of the week is Ohio State minus 30.5 over Indiana. Ohio State they've heard it all year about Michigan beating them again, and as much as I hate to say it, they're going to be a good team. They're always going to be a good team. Indiana had that flash in the pan during the COVID year, but other than that, they are who they. To quote, I forget which coach it was. They are who we thought they are. Indiana's not good. This is all the makings of Ohio State just putting it on. I don't see Indiana competing. So give me the Buckeyes covering 30 points.
Yeah, for me, my lock of the week, I'll go next, obviously. In the middle is Tennessee over Virginia. Listen, UVA obviously, had that unforeseen tragic circumstance at the end of the year where they canceled the last 2 games because of the school shooting that took 3 of their players' lives. My heart goes out to them. But Josh Heupel, I think he continues to keep it up. I think he continues to show that he's here to stay. I think Tennessee's going to be successful. I don't think it was a fluke. They have the guy who can throw it, 120 yards in the air, Joe Milton. And God forbid he goes down. They have Amavalea or whatever that kid's name is, who was a 5-star who's going there on an $8 million NIL. They have the weapons on the outside. Look for Dante Thornton. Look for Squirrel White. Those guys are playmakers with a capital P. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. I think they easily cover their minus 28, and I think it's a bad day for UVA.
I think that you're probably right there. My lock of the week is going to be Alabama over Middle Tennessee. It's a 39-point spread, but I'm thinking that Alabama's got something to prove, something to figure out with their quarterback situation. I think that Saban's still been pretty cagey about who is going to be his starting quarterback. So I think he's going to take this as an opportunity to kind of let the reins loose and see who's going to be the Tide's quarterback for the rest of the season. So I think that they're going to put up points.
I was watching TV. I just wanted to say before I forgot about it, but it's the first time under Saban that they have not released the depth chart at least a week before their first game.
Wow.
He's been really cagey about it.
Yeah, and he was smiling at his press conference. So you know what that smells some bad news from Middle Tennessee.
Oh, God.
All right,
Help
we
them.
just see what he's got. I think that it's Bama's gonna come back with a vengeance this year. I think they're gonna be a tough team, and I'm really excited to see what they do. So yeah, they're my lock of the week.
They've won enough. It's over. It's over.
With that, we're going to go to our pick'em. So this is too close to call who we think is going to win in a close game. Nick, you want to go first?
I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but I like what Shane Beamer's doing in Columbia. I think that they're going to do great things with him at coach. He's got great players. He's recruiting well. They beat us last year. It is what it is. They're improving. They're going to be really good. Part of this pick is a spite pick. I want them to lose so bad. But I do think that with Drake May, second best quarterback in the country, UNC, and you know what, they in their last game of the year last year in the ACC championship, excuse me, they got worked. by Clemson, and I think that left a sour taste in their mouth, and they're returning to that stadium again. I don't think that they're going to just take that lightly and just say, "Oh, like here we go again." So give me the Tar Heels. They're the real Carolina. Because Carolina's in Chapel Hill, USC's in California. But I do got to give Beamer some props. He's turned a dumpster fire into something that's actually respectable. But give me the Tar Heels, please. Tar Heels, please win. That's
Yeah, for me
Yeah.
it's pretty simple. This is the trash game of the week, but it's too close to call. I mean, you have probably one of the worst teams in the Power Five. No disrespect to BC, but they were awful last year against NIU, which I didn't even know was a school that had a football team until this week, and I was looking over the scoreboard. But doing some
They have a
research,
good quarterback in Jordan Lynch, I think.
I was gonna
yeah,
say, don't
and
disrespect Jordan Lynch like that.
they also have Rocky Lombardi, if you remember him. What a throwback. I think he's in his 7th year of college. Thank you, COVID.
He's
But
almost halfway to Hunter Renfro. He's getting there.
yeah, excellent. Can't wait. Can't wait to watch him this week. But no, I see BC is, like I said, still Power 5 team. They are still, a dog who plays in a big bad conference of the ACC, right? They play a lot of competitive teams. They play a higher talent level than I'm sure NIU does. In their past, I think 3 meetings, BC is 3-0. BC goes 4-0 here. It's definitely a pick 'em, but go Golden Eagles here.
I've got a week 1 rematch from last year. Florida State came out on top by 1 point over LSU there. They're 2.5-point dogs, I believe. Florida State, I think there's been a lot of hype about them this year. I think that they are vastly improved. I think they're going to have a really good season. I think it starts with LSU, and I think they're going to be a real contender in the ACC this year. So I'm picking the Noles to get off on the right foot against LSU.
And you're playing against Brian Kelly in a big game.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. That helps. All right, upset of the week. Nick, give us what you got.
I got Hawaii over Stanford. I think that Stanford has the potential to be arguably the worst Power 5 team in the country. I know that a lot of people would say Vanderbilt, who Hawaii just lost to, but you look at that, Hawaii had to go to Vanderbilt. That's a very far travel to Nashville. Quarterback put up 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they were in that game. This game's in Hawaii, 11 o'clock kick. I know it's not as bad for West Coast teams, but it's Hawaii. Weird things happen late at night. Stanford's a 3.5-point favorite. Give me Hawaii. I think that they're at home. They're playing for something with the awful things that happened in Maui. Prayers up for everyone there. I just think that the Rainbow Warriors get it done. I think this starts the long season for Stanford. Give me Hawaii.
Yeah, for me, I know this was a controversial take within our group chat, but I am on the Coach Prime train. Let's kind of go through a quick timeline here. Coach Prime came in. He was hired as a coach of a 1-11 team last year. That was, I think they lost by the biggest margin in Power 5, and I don't even think it was close. Northwestern lost by an average point margin of 14 points. Colorado lost by an average point margin of 27.5. I don't foresee that happening here. This guy came in. He said he was going to bring his Louis luggage, and he told everyone else to get the hell out of town. He's done just that. He's done what he's promised. He's building a culture over there, whether it be backing up their teammates in a fight or just the mantra of playing confidently, just as he did, and earning those NIL dollars. I think Colorado is not somebody to mess with this year, especially for the first half of the season. They went out, they got a bunch of 5 stars. I think those guys are going to learn how to play football over the course of the year, and I think their depth is eventually going to show in the second half of the year. But talent is going to win in week 1. I think TCU, they're still recovering from getting their male reproductive system kicked in the dirt in January. Sonny Dykes got really, really lucky last year. He made a deal with Lady Luck, going 7-0 with with a touchdown deficit games. I'm really excited to see the Buffs this year.
Yep. For me, tough one to pick this week. I'm going with Georgia Tech over Louisville. I just got a feeling about Georgia Tech this year being, continuing to try and turn that team into a contender in the ACC, someone who's trying to come back to their historically great roots. Louisville, I think for me, this pick more comes down to the fact that they don't have Malik Cunningham anymore. And so I'm really curious to see what happens with Louisville's offense. Um, but I think that they're going to struggle out the gate, I think. And I think Georgia Tech has the moxie to pull this one out. Plus, birds don't have feet, so I can't pick Louisville.
They don't.
With that last one here, we have is the over under. So Nick, your over and under pick.
I touched on it briefly earlier when I said that USC does not have a defense again. When I submitted this pick in our group chat, the over-under was at 64. Looking at it right now, it's already up to 66.5, so I've already gained 2.5 points. I feel even better about it now. Caleb Williams, Heisman favorite, 4 touchdowns last week. He's gonna put up numbers again. USC's gonna score points, and then what's making me feel even better is that USC's defense is also playing, so Nevada's gonna put up points. Perfect game to just sit back, watch some offense, laugh at the poor tackling. Obviously the Trojans are going to win this one, but give me both of them get hit in the over. And honestly, with the way that USC offense is playing and Nevada's not that strong, I wouldn't be surprised if USC hits it by themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to watch that game. That's going to be fireworks. But my pick, I'm taking the over. It's pretty simple here. Give me the Jersey boy and Devin Leary. I think, this team is much, much improved on this offensive side of the football. I think they got some really good transfers on the offensive line, if I read correctly. And they have some more experience at the offensive line this year. But Devin Leary is a player. You guys know that. I know that. A lot of people know that in Kentucky, but not over the country. So give me the over here. I think he's going to put on a lot of fireworks in his first game, especially against the Ball State team. I think the over was don't have it in front of me. Do you guys have it in front of me?
I'll pull it up really quick.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. The over under set at 49.5.
Yeah, so I had 48.5 at the time I sent the text, so it's already gone up. Like you, I'm confident in my pick, especially since they upped it. Give me the over here.
I'm taking the free money here with the picking the under whenever Iowa plays. They're supposedly having a revamped offense this year. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. The over under at 45. I really do think that this is. I think they might get close, but I don't see Iowa giving up a whole lot of points to Utah State, and I just don't see them getting to high enough to get to 45 on their own. So I'll take the under here, and hopefully take that to the bank.
They got to
Interesting
score.
thing about
They got to score an
Sorry, go
average
ahead.
of 25 themselves because their offensive coordinator is, according to everyone else, incompetent.
Also
I'm looking at
fun.
the last 5 games. They won. They won 21-0. They lost 24-17. Won 13-10, 24-10, and 24-3. So I feel pretty good about 45 points. I'm not too worried about it.
The other interesting thing is that Iowa is a 25-point favorite in that game. So if you listen to Vegas, they're expecting this game to be
25
I
to
really
0.
don't understand. Yeah, which is crazy. But I guess I've seen weirder things from Iowa football. So I still remember the days where they just took Ohio State to the woodshed and put up 50 points. It's crazy that that's that same program.
Yeah, during the COVID year.
It's crazy.
Yep. Well, I think that's about all we've got for this week. Thank you guys for joining in. Let us know what you think about our picks. Called you out for being wrong on a couple of them, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, pick
Go
on the Irish.
Tigers.
Go Irish.
Go Tigers.